Federal prosecutor who was part of the Hunter Biden Delaware investigation is right now testifying. He's here in the upper right-hand corner, Leslie Wolf of your screen. She's a key player in all of this. She's testifying, giving her deposition on Capitol Hill right now. It's part of the official House impeachment investigation, the inquiry. You've heard it called as well. So whistleblowers say that Wolf obstructed their investigation into President Biden really at every turn of the way. We saw Shapley and Ziegler on America's Newsroom this morning saying exactly that. So this was a years-long probe into Hunter Biden. They say that during that, she limited the questions that they were allowed to ask about the elder Biden. She prevented a search of Hunter's home because it was on the same property as the Biden home, according to them. The Judiciary Chair, Jim Jordan, says this. Watch.
Leslie Wolf, according to Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, is the lady who said, we're not going to look into campaign finance concerns. She's the one who said you can't use the term big guy when you do any interviews. You can't talk about political figure number one, who we all know was Joe Biden. So we want to ask her questions about all that.
So at least she showed up for the questioning. Hunter defied his congressional subpoena yesterday, instead offering that he would only testify publicly in front of cameras. But that step usually comes after the deposition step, which they wanted to do first. So now Republicans are moving to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of not showing up for their subpoena. Some pointed out that it may be difficult for the DOJ not to prosecute Hunter if they get a referral from the House, because they have to treat people the same, right? They went after Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro also for not showing up when they were subpoenaed to testify. Flashback to Democrats who sang a very different tune about the importance in those situations of showing up for the closed-door deposition.
This goes on for hour after hour after hour. We want to get all our questions answered, and you can't do that in a live format. And there are many questions that we have for him.
Leo Terrell, Fox News contributor and attorney at law. Good to see you, Leo. Welcome to the Focus this morning. So, what do you think is going to happen here? Are they going to treat both situations the same? And will Hunter be held in contempt? And what will that look like?
You laid it out perfectly, Martha. Let me be very clear. You cannot ignore the legal aspect of it and the political aspect. First question, are they going to treat Hunter Biden the same way as they did Steve Bannon? I don't think so. They should, but why? Because you have the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland who reports to Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden's son there. So if they do anything, Martha, they're going to slow drag it. They're going to take as much time as possible. Yes, Steve Bannon was treated in a manner in which he was held in contempt and basically convicted. Do you honestly expect Hunter Biden to be treated the same way with Joe Biden being the head of the federal government?
But Leo,
I don't think so.
let me ask you a question. Because even, as you say, you have to look at both sides of it. Everyone knows what the law is. If you break the law, there are ramifications. You have to look at the precedent of how people have been treated in the past to do the same thing and treat them the same way. But what we're seeing now with Weiss, sort of once the light is on them, and it becomes more difficult, he came forward and, they undid this sweetheart deal, thanks to the judge who looked at it and said, what? Nobody gets to do this. You don't get immunity for the rest of your life. So is the tide turning, and is it complicated by the fact that it seems like more and more Democrats, including David Axelrod, don't really want to see Joe Biden run again?
Is it tide turning, Martha? Yes, but slowly. Listen, go back to David Weiss. He could file additional charges. Where's the FARA charges? So they prosecute the tax charges. Why? Because it excludes Joe Biden. Martha, I want to make sure all the viewers understand this. Every decision that is made by the Department of Justice, they're going to factor in the political aspect, how it hurts Joe Biden and the Democrats. Leslie Wolf, for example, if I was in that committee right now taking her deposition, who told you to omit Joe Biden's name? Did you have the authority to omit Joe Biden's name? What's the legal basis for it? That attorney is under a tremendous amount of pressure to tell the truth, not only because she's under oath, but because her bar license is going to be affected. So she's under a lot of pressure. That is a very important deposition today.
Yeah, you remember when Ziegler and Shapley wanted to search a certain property of Hunter Biden's, and she said, "No, I think that's a little. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze." I think was the comment that was made in that. Go ahead.
And that's very important. But the IRS whistleblowers have credibility. They have testified under oath. They are clean. Leslie Wolf is under oath now. She has to come clean. And this is why when you hear people talk in the open, when they're under oath, Martha, it's a whole different story. What Hunter Biden did yesterday was a dog and pony show. He will sing a different song when he raises his right hand to God and has to tell the truth under oath.
Okay, so Leo, how about this? The judge putting Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case in Washington on hold while the former president pursues his claim to the Supreme Court that he is immune as president at the time from prosecution. So it comes as special counsel Jack Smith is attempting to bypass the appeals court process of this, the usual next step in the process, and he wants this to go straight to the Supreme Court. Here's Will Kane's take on this, and we'll get your thoughts on the other side, Leo.
The fact that Jack Smith is going to skip the appellate level of the federal justice system to try to go to the Supreme Court in order to preserve his trial schedule, he needs to make sure this happens before Super Tuesday in time to interfere with an election, to impact an election, shows he's not pursuing justice or the idea that no one is above the law. He's trying to influence your vote with this case.
What do you think about that? You agree?
Martha, absolutely. Again, when you look at this case, you have to understand the political aspect. Jack Smith is a Democratic operative who wants a kangaroo court before the election. He wants to impact the election. I'll ask, if I had a chance to ask Jack Smith one question, why this case? Have you done this before? How many times have you appealed directly to the Supreme Court? And basically, I can guarantee you the answer is zero. He wants a trial to try to get a conviction against Trump before the election. It's not going to work because this judge, the district judge, her hands are tied. She had to stay all the operations because the Supreme Court now has jurisdiction. So Jack Smith's not going to get his wish. I can tell you right now, Martha, that case will not take place in March of 2024.
Yeah. You know what? As you're talking about this, my mind just goes back to 2015 and the text messages between Peter Strzok and, I can smell the Trump support in this Walmart or whatever it was he said. And, he won't be president. We're not going to let it happen. And you see that kind of thread still running through this, in terms of people who want to preserve democracy. You got to let people vote. You got to let people vote for who they want to vote for. Quick thought, Leo, before we go.
Yes, Martha, you're absolutely right. The key here is this. If people are going to look at this Hunter Biden, Donald Trump case, please understand the legal system is one side, but there's another track. It's the political impact that affects the legal system, and that has to be looked at on every aspect of this case.
Thank you, Leo. It's always great to see you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.